Alright, welcome back everybody. I'm back again. I've got a new kukri to show and talk about. This one comes from the company Heritage Blades. Now I've wanted one of their kukri for quite a while, but luckily a friend of mine, Netra, he got a hold of me and he actually had one that he was willing to sell to me. So I've got that here now. Here it is. Right-handed scabbard, of course. Not many places make left-handed scabbards or ambidextrous scabbards. That's why I try to design them all the time. But this scabbard is not the original from Heritage Blades, nor are the Chakma Concarta. They came with smaller Chakma Concarta than this, and you know how I feel about that. So Netra put this together for me. Even though it's a right-handed scabbard, during the summer I'll still wear that behind me where I can draw it with my left hand. But the kukri itself is the interesting part. So this is one of the Khola style kukri that Heritage Blades make. The first thing when I drew it out was the handle's quite small. It's relatively comfortable, but your center ring is a little bit low. If that was a little bit higher, that would actually be a perfect fit for me. But as it is, I've got to sort of choke up a little bit and put that ring between my last two fingers. Anyway, all that being said, it's a fantastic kukri. There's only a few little niggly bits about it that could have quite easily been fixed, but we'll get to those in a minute. So first things first, we'll do some quick measurements. So the blade weight is 500 grams. Bang on 500. Alright, now I don't have my measuring tape with me. I've had to appropriate my wife's ruler. But now if I measure it up here, you've got a blade length of 30.5 centimeters if you measure to this point here, or 31.5 if you measure to the back of the bolster. Alright, which means it's 31 if you measure to the center. It is very close to being 6 centimeters, yep, 6 centimeters wide, and the spine is only 5 millimeters thick at the bolster, and it very gradually tapers all the way down to 4 mil. So it's a very gradual distal taper, but it is still a very even distal taper, so that's fantastic. But you're only tapering 1 mil because it's such a thin spine at the bolster as well, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, provided the heat treat is good. It should flex without bending and staying bent, and it shouldn't break. There's plenty of European swords that are 4 mil thick at the bolster, and they go all the way up like that, and they're swords. Anyway, that's a little bit off topic. You'll see here that's got a very, handle first. So handle length of usable handle is about 11.5 centimeters. So as I said, it's quite a small handle, and that's actually measuring from the top of the bolster. If I go from the bottom of the bolster to the beginning of the butt cap, you've only got about 10.5 of usable grip area there. So it is quite small, but there's nothing wrong with that either. If it fits your hand, that's all that matters. I tend to like the larger grip so I can choke up and choke down depending on the application of what I'm putting the knife through. But this is a traditional kukri, so a traditional style, I should say. Handle width is, what do we got there? That's 33 mil, so nearly 3.5 centimeters wide towards the bolster there, which is small-ish, but it's still fine. Alright, now with that being done, we'll talk about the edge here. So you can see there's a little secondary bevel there, and it is convex. It's not the most even grind. The grind is sort of more that way, but that's only down here at the cowdy. Up here, it seems to be far more even, and it is very sharp. It came incredibly sharp from Netra. So get a piece of paper here, and we'll just do some quick paper tests. Now you'll see it just skipped there. There is a portion of the blade here that I've noticed has had a little bit of edge damage done to it. Now I don't know what they were cutting with this to make that happen, because Heritage Blades are known for their heat treat. So I don't know if they were chopping bone or maybe a car or steel, metal, I don't know, something hard, and they've sort of rolled the edge a little bit, but that's okay. That'll polish out. I'll be able to grind that out quite easily. You can barely see it. I can sort of, it's catching the sunlight just a tiny bit there. So, you know, it seems to have more of a forward balance than a lot of the Kukri that I've got. So what that means is it'll probably hit harder, it'll chop harder, even though it's smaller and lighter, it'll still chop like something a little bit larger or a little bit heavier, which is, that's a good thing, especially for these smaller Kukri. You want your balance to be further forward. Unless it's a fighting blade, of course, if it's purely a fighting blade, you want the balance to be still forward, but not as far forward as this one is, I'd say. And that way you can sort of really whip it around. But having said that, it's still quite fast in the hand. You just feel that weight a little more because it's further forward. We will check the balance point of it though. Now, judging from the feel of this, it's going to be quite hard to get it to, yeah, see. I found the balance point forwards and back, but it won't balance on its edge. So I won't balance on its edge. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's usually a requirement of my designs, usually, not always. But the reason that that's a good thing, having the balance on here instead of back here, is for when you're doing a cut, it means you can relax the hand a little more, and during the swing, the Kukri will actually line itself up because of where the point of balance is. So it feels more intuitive, is the word I'm looking for. It feels more intuitive when you're swinging it around, when it can balance on its edge. But I have a vintage Kukri, which I haven't done a review of yet, and it has the same point of balance as this. It's almost exactly the same as this. It's just not an Khola, and it's not made by Heritage. It was made by Thackeray and Sons, I believe. Anywho, enough of that. So that's the basic measurements down, the weight, all that kind of thing. We can do a quick scabbard retention test now. As I said, this is an aftermarket scabbard. The original scabbard did not retain the blade. It fell straight out. And I have a video of that I'll probably roll in. But this one, you know, its retention's far better. So that's why Netra was nice enough to send me that. Alright, so we've done the paper test. It won't balance, but it does retain the scabbard. I think that is pretty much everything we're going to cover right now. We're going to do some real quick chopping, and then I'm going to be taking this out to my parents and my mother and father-in-law's place and do some hardcore chopping on it, because I know that Heritage are well known for their heat treat and their strong knives. Alright, thank you for listening. Be back shortly for the chopping. Alright, here's the log we're going to be whaling on today. Now this one, we remember from my last video, was had a bit of an ant problem, but it's been sitting here for a while now, so hopefully the ants are gone from it. We'll see how this Kukri goes, so let's do it. Oh, glancing, blows. Can't go on too much of an angle with this one. Oh. There you go. That hardwood is really unforgiving to these sorts of edges, but it's alright. Starts eating away at it pretty quickly as soon as you get your technique right, I can tell you that much. And it does hit much harder than its weight would suggest. Look how clean that cut is. You wouldn't even need to sand that, that's smooth. Alright, let's give it a few whacks on this other side here. Nearly through, I think. Pretty thick. Got through it alright. I mean, yeah, you got a little bit of a hollow spot in the middle there, but that is hard wood. Still sharp. Straight. No damage to the edge other than the little sort of rolled area that I was talking about before. Might bring it a little more over into the grass here so I don't chip the edge on the bricks. This baton might be a little bit too big for me, I think. I'll be right back in a sec. Alright, this is the best I could do for a baton at the moment until I find some decent wood, but it'll do. There, the ants are waking up. Sorry guys. Alright, here we go. Swap hands. I always forget to bring my gloves. I don't know why I do that. Anywho, let's do this where you can actually see it. Very little shock in the handle. Blade is still straight. Blade is still sharp. Alright. Got a paper. Oh, there you go. They're still good. Whoops. That's that little rolled area. Again. Pretty impressive for such a little blade. I like that. Alright. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's past the first phase of the testing. And I'll take it out to the in-laws place, put it against some real hardwood, see how we go. Alright, thanks guys. Heritage blades. See how we go with it. That is clean. That is really, really clean. I'm surprised. All right. This will be a challenge. See how tough this thing really is. Very little shock in the handle. Quite surprised. Let's see if it bends. It's traveling through the knots. I can feel it turn. There's a bit of warping. I'm losing my baton. Doesn't have enough weight. There's something else. It's straight. Check it out. How am I going to do this? It's straight. Very impressed so far. Oop, missed. All right. Tip test. Tip's still good, still sharp. Yeah, right. All right, well, so far I'm really impressed, but something I saw in their testing that I want to give a crack myself. There you go. Lamb bone. So if you go on their channel, you'll see that they cut through this no problem, no damage to the edge. So let's try that. That was a flick of the wrist. That was nothing. All right, let's try again. A little harder this time. And then we'll have a look at the edge, okay? Right. Wow. Gotta be happy with that. Just gotta be. Let's have a look at the edge. All right, and let's check our edge. See how our edge is doing, shall we? Yeah. Yeah. We've batoned through a massive log with this. We've shattered the bone. We've done some chopping and stuff. Done some flexing. And the spine's straight. The edge is good. There wasn't too much shock in the handle, which kind of impressed me quite a lot. The cutting edge wasn't damaged. And overall, it's just held up really well. So, awesome. Thanks, guys.